Welcome
and
to our
tools
channel.
needed to
Catch the
experiment
highlights
remote
from e-commerce
export.
export
To
workshop
me,
at the
the
Northeastern
this is a
Handicrafts
testament
and
to the growing
Handloom's
interest
Development
and commitment
Corporation,
towards handicraft and export
NEHHDC
potential of our
campus. Stay tuned to
traditional
see
arts
how
and
we're
crafts.
empowering
We
local
are delighted to
entrepreneurs
have with us
with
today
support from
eminent
FIEO
personalities whose
and
support has been
Amazon India.
instrumental in driving this initiative. Please join me in extending a heartfelt welcome to Mr. Deepak R., Business Development Manager, Amazon. Ms. Neha Mehra, Board Member, FIEO. I now request our DGM Finance, Madam Roshan Rahman, to felicitate our guest, Mr. Deepak R., Business Development Manager, Amazon. I request Madam Roshan Rahman to felicitate Ms. Neha Mehra, Board Member, FIEO. Thank you so much. Throughout this workshop, you will have the opportunity to learn from industry experts, share experiences with fellow participants, and engage in interactive sessions that will enhance your understanding of the e-commerce landscape. Whether you are a seasoned exporter or new to the field, we are confident that you will find the discussions and activities highly beneficial. Now, I request Mr. Deepak to take over.
Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to check one thing before I start. How many of you are aware of what Amazon does? Yeah, Amazon India or Amazon Global Market, like exports. How many of you are exporters here? Okay, you guys have Amazon India account? You guys have ever sold in Amazon?
We have it in Amazon India, but our
Okay.
exports are not for Amazon Global. We have other sources of e-commerce.
Sure. So first, let me just go ahead with my introduction. So I'm Deepak. I'm part of Amazon Global Sales team. So I'm part of Indian team, but we help sellers export to .com and other marketplaces. So I do have a presentation, but I would like to keep so what language you guys are comfortable with? English and Hindi? Okay. So I do have a presentation, but I'd like to keep the session much more organic, simple, and I want to address specific doubts of you rather than me taking you through the entire presentation. So that's how I prefer to operate. So in between the presentation, like feel free to stop me or please ask any doubts that you may have. Okay? Let's have a presentation. Sure. Yes, please. Yeah, sure.
Ms. Neha would like to give a brief about FIEO, so I kindly request her and come over.
A very good morning to all present. Thank you all for coming. So, as some of you are aware, we are from FIEO, which is Federation of Indian Exports, and we are established under Ministry of Commerce. So basically what we do is, we act as a facilitator between the exporter community and the government. And one of our main activities is to handhold the exporters to start their exports, to find the buyers, and to eventually start selling their products. So we do have our own online portals as well. And since Mr. Deepak is here, he'll be able to give you a very, very clear picture as to how online exports can take place. Now, one of the reasons that we requested Mr. Deepak from Amazon to be here is that we all understand that Assam or entire Northeast is a landlocked nation. So logistics has always been a challenge. So it makes more sense for exporters like us to send our products to different parts of the country through e-commerce. That way it not only saves us the cost and the time, but it also increases the visibility and reachability of our product. So my request to you is that since we are a small gathering, I request you all to come in the front and let's try to keep this session as organic and as one-to-one as possible so that all of you are able to grab something out of it and eventually be able to start the exports. And I humbly thank Mr. Deepak R to specially travel from Bangalore for this session and to enlighten us as to how to go about e-commerce exports. Thank you very much and we welcome Mr. Deepak. May I request you all to please come forward. Thank you. Should I give to you?
We good to go? So firstly I'll give a brief. What we do in our team is that we help all the Indian sellers, the ones who are listed in say Indian marketplace, the ones who are not listed with Amazon as well. So we help them export to US and other marketplaces. That's what we typically do. So it has a certain step that one needs to follow because the regulatory and the compliance part in US is different from how it operates in India. So while there are advantages and disadvantages of both, it's a good business opportunity for say Indian sellers, and there we do not have, so in .com and other marketplaces, the 3P hold is much higher than the retail hold. So in India, if you see, typically we've got a big company where, for example, you buy from Amazon, you would see sold by ClickTech, you would see sold by CloudTech. So all these are retailers. So here what we do is typically most of the sellers, they sell their products to the retailers. Through retailers, it gets transported to all the customers. It's because again to take care of the logistic part, ads, all the things. Whereas in .com and other marketplaces, sellers have the ample amount of freedom to run their business the way how they prefer to do it. So there is that freedom in .com compared to the Indian marketplace. And also when we talk about the margins, of course the spends are there, but also along with that when we talk about margins, since we are dealing with dollars, like typically for Indian seller is like say clocking 100 rupees of profit here for like say if it's clocking around say 10% or 15% overall margin, in US it would be slightly higher as well if we do all the checks right. So we started global sales somewhere around close to 2014-2015. Till 2023 we clocked close to $8 billion. So just to give you an idea, Indian marketplace overall year on year we are clocking somewhere around $5 to $6 billion per year only in Indian marketplace. A.com is like 200 times more than that. So .com does typically about $600 to $650 billion per year. And what we do here versus almost last year we clocked somewhere around $5 billion. So it's typically the same what the number of business that we do in A.in plus the exports that we are doing in .com is almost now the same. So hence we are looking for say more sellers, hence the expansion has been more rapid compared to the previous year. So till 2023 we have done 8 billion and now 24 alone we have clocked 5 billion. So and even we have tied up with government, so by 2027, we are aiming to clock around $25 billion just from exports. So hence the team has expanded, hence we are helping out a lot of sellers to sort of enable them to sell independently. So again, when I talk about global sales, the benefits is that, so when you list through Amazon instead of you selling directly, so there are a lot of companies who have gone D2C directly. But again, the logistics and other parts are very tough. So hence Amazon plays as a medium where you ship your products, we give you end-to-end service from our. So I'll just take, so more than the PPT, I would just, what I would do is, because this PPT again would seem generic, I've done my research. So based on handicraft and handloom, these are the two nodes that I have identified, and that's what it is. So out of $600 billion, 20% comes from home category as well as apparel category. So if I'm talking to you guys, the top two nodes in .com is apparel as well as home. These are like the biggest market there. Whereas in India, it's electronics. Whereas in .com, it's home and apparel. So in that, how we go about with each seller is, if it is say 600 billion, 10% for each. So say it would be close to 60 billion. Now in that, we with each seller, we make something called as a forward-looking plan. Suppose if opportunity for a business is say roughly about 100 rupees, we have to tap in like say 0.05% as a market share for us to look at a realistic number. Suppose you are listed with us, now you want to do business, like you would want to clock a certain number, how would we arrive with that number? We would say like based on the particular node, we won't go about the overall .com size because that again would be unrealistic for you guys. So we would just go by based on the browse node that you want to always do. Say for example now in home, arts and craft is where all the handicrafts would fall under. That would be our actual browse node that we are going to target. Now in that 0.05% would be our forward-looking plan. So if you onboard, if we have to give a plan, that would be a plan that for that particular first year we are going to clock this, and then based on that year on year, based on how we do our marketing spends, how our sales goes, we take a 20% or 25%, 30% based on the market share, and then we start scaling the brand accordingly. So the reason why I asked in the starting is if you are listed with Amazon.in already, if you are a seller, the transition would be much easier versus if you are not at all listed in A.in. Suppose if you are listed with Amazon.in already, we will just help you with the registration, and then we will do all the parts right from taking your listings that are present in Indian marketplace. We are going to clone them and we are going to help you in shipment creation. So the process, the time taken there would be like say about 30 to 40 days. Whereas if you're not listed with A.in, if you want to start off, so even for you to sort of get a hang of the business and to start everything from scratch, it would take roughly about say 2 months end to end for you to so this is again I'm giving you a very realistic timeline of like I can't tell you like within 15-20 days you can send, because there are certain regulations and norms that we need to follow. Clocking all those things, looking at the realistic timeline, if you go by a certain shipment, it would take about say 2 months. And now is the right time compared to Indian marketplace. So in India from Jan to December you've got various events, and you keep seeing, so we've got Diwali, we've got Prime Day, so Prime Day is present in .com as well, but we've got like close to 7 to 10 events. Whereas in .com it's very clear, one we've got Prime Day, and we've got Prime Winter Fall in October, and we've got BFCM, Black Friday sale, which is close to November. So the events in .com is very small. So it's not a very event focused thing there. Month on month, based on the note that we have given, you do all your checks or metrics, right? So in the whole year, you get to find the demand. So India has become slightly a bullish market because we are all fixated to the number of discounts that we are going to see, and every customer would sort of understand the price point. So there it is more on the quality aspect of it, and one good thing about .com is there is no cash on delivery. So it's like the customer has to pay and get the product there, and the return rates it's very less. So how it operates from Indian market, it's very different in .com. Though also there are a lot of rules and regulations that of course I'll be taking you through, but this is what the gist is. So we generally target all the sellers to launch before say March, April, so that you have a build-up time. Because we send your particular product, we'll have to see how that product is behaving in that market, and then within Prime Day, which is in July, if you've got our stocks built up, we'll be able to run ads discount during Prime Day, and then we'll have a second build-up in close to October, and then November we've got another event which is Black Friday, Cyber Monday. This is how it would go in .com. So it's very simple. So with all the sellers, we generally target in the Q1 launches, because post that even the entire team would get busy with handling the existing accounts that we have onboarded. So how we would go is, we would generally look at what is the size and scale of the business of say each seller. Like of course every seller is welcome to start their business or journey, but what matters is there are certain things like say if you are exporting something, we would go to such a granular level, we'll guide you like what would be your returns, or say what would be your ad spends, what would be your market fees. Overall, say on a 100 rupee product, what is it that you're spending? What is it that you're being left with all the ad spends and everything? What is it that you're able to get it finally in your pocket? So that's the end-to-end guidance that say me or other colleagues of mine, all the BDs would be helping you. So if you worked in Indian market, there is an account management fees in A.in. Whereas in global market, you will be getting a free account managers. Suppose say we onboard you, right from onboarding till the time you send your stocks for close to a year, till we scale your business, we will be giving you free account management from Amazon then. We will be scaling your business, and then based on how big it has grown, it will be handed over to account management. So that's how the journey transitions. And in .com, for every seller who's listing their account, who is listing their products, month on month, there would be a fee of $40. So the first time you register your account in .com, having a credit card is mandatory. So once you've created your account, the first time there would be a charge of say $40. Then once your product is about to get live in .com, every month there would be a charges of $40. So that $40 again would typically convert to your say deal or option, or you want to run ads, or you want to make changes. So basically that's a seller central fee that .com charges for all the .com. Since I told it's a very mature marketplace, so in India probably I think in the next 1 or 2 years, the fee structure might start in Indian marketplace also. Right now the seller central is free for all Indian sellers, whereas in .com any person that who wants to do business in .com would have to bear this particular fee. So I'll just take you through the process now. The first thing would be the registration process. When I talk about registration process, similarly how you do it for India, you will have to create a seller central account. You need to have a valid PAN, valid Aadhaar card, your business licenses. There will be a KYC video that would take place. You would do your registration there. So I'll be sending the registration link to you guys, like any seller that is interested to sort of who wish to export. So with that link you will do the registration. So once the registration is done, each of you would be having your own brand name. So that's called as, so in our Amazon terms, we extend our brand registry. So what we do is, suppose say there is RT Handicrafts. So we take those RT Handicrafts and we extend that brand registry to .com, so that no other seller would be able to sell your products, or you will have that exclusive rights to hold for your particular brand. So that's your brand registry part after you've created your account. So here one catch is that every seller should have an active credit card, because there has to be a way where Amazon can charge you, right? Be it for ads or be it for other things. So hence having a valid credit card is very important. So you need to have an active credit card, and then you will be providing an email address, you will be giving your company name, and we will be sending you an invite to list in A.com. So you will complete with your registration process, you will extend your brand registry, post which we will go ahead with the listing creation. So for each of your product, now how many of you are aware of how a product looks like in Amazon? So you guys are familiar with how e-commerce works. You would see each different product, right? So you would have an end-to-end idea of what is it that you have to put in a product description, or so we'll be guiding you again. So how a product description should look like, what is it that we have to price upon, So here, so there we don't have a concept called as MRP, right? So there's no MRP in US. So we get to decide our own pricing. Suppose anything that you are selling here for say $3 or $4, there you can even sell it for $10 or $12. There's no PT. For example, Shilajit that you get here for like say 900, there it is being sold for 2,700. So last year Shilajit was one of the product which was totally undervalued in Indian marketplace, is booming in dollar. So again, there would be a lot of nodes that might work in India, might not work in .com and vice versa. So regardless of the kind of scrutiny that we are going to do, we are always going to focus more on the width rather than depth. So we would look at, suppose say if you've got like say 100 products, we would urge you or recommend you to list all the 100 products in the platform first, create all the listings. Then if you've got say Indian business or if you're present in Flipkart or if you're present in other places, we go with a Pareto approach. So after 80% of the business that you've gotten through that particular market, we will clone the exact listings. That is something that we'll have to plan for our shipment creation. Apart from that, so our again first shipment, when we are going to plan, once we are completed with our listing process, we will help you connect with one of our SPN partner, service provider network. So what they are going to do is, for each subcategory, say for grocery, there would be a certain certification that is required. For electronics, there would be a certain IEEE certification required. So since Amazon cannot get into it directly, we are going to connect you with one of the best SPN providers, like a third-party providers. They will connect with you. Suppose you would need an importer-exporter. So for every person who wants to do business in .com, there is something called as importer-exporter code that is required. Then there is something called as AD code, which you connect with your bank and you obtain the AD code. And then any shipment that you are sending more than above $800, there is something called as IOR, importer on record. So that is something that every seller would need. So all these help will be completely done by a service provider, SPN partner. We help you connect with them, you work with them, you tell your particular category what your requirements are, and they will help you with certification for a respective fields. So once all that is done, then we proceed with the shipment creation. So again, shipment creation part, I won't get into the technicality of it. So it has to be say less than 25 kgs. It has to be in 25, 25, 25. So all those part comes in the end. I wouldn't get to that. But so there would be certain compliances that needs to be followed that the Amazon POC as well as your SPN partner, both of us would sort of coordinate with you and tell you exactly कि आपको कौन सा product you have to send to. Again, as I mentioned, what is demanding here could not be demanding there. So as a first experiment, when we are sending, we target a number of, suppose in toys, speakers are selling more than say a normal traditional toys. So what we would recommend is sending say 5-10 units of say speaker toys versus 2-3 units of say normal toy. So once you, so again, your selection till the time it does not go live there, we don't see the run rate, we won't be exactly evaluate of what's working. Today I might tell you I might restrict you, okay, send only 10 products, 1 unit each, but we are missing out on the potential of the other 90 products. So hence we go by maximum number of SKUs or products with less number of quantity just to calculate the run rate. So we've got, when we talk about shipment creation, again Amazon has partnered with something called as Amazon Send program. So what we do there is, as she was mentioning about the logistic part, you have done your listing, your account is ready, everything is sorted, you have made your products ready with all labeling guidelines and everything as per the US norms. Now you'll have to ship your products. In Seller Central itself, you will be able to choose 2 options. One is your air shipment, the other one is your sea shipment. So in air shipment, per kg it would roughly cost you about 600 to 650 rupees per kg. Whereas for sea shipment, it would cost you about 150 to 200 rupees per kg. This is like a standard rate including tax for most of the shipping partners. So we choose one of the partners there. Again, we have tied up with a couple of folks. One, we choose one of the partners there for shipping. We do as per all our labeling guidelines and everything. We ship the products there. We take the tracking ID. We coordinate with them. Generally for air shipment, it takes roughly about 15 to 16 days. For sea shipment, it takes about 40 to 45 days to reach the warehouse. So once it reaches US, So in India, suppose say for example, today you get a PO, say for Flipkart, Amazon, for any other places, there are again two things. One is, which is your MFN, which if a customer is placing order, you will pack it and send it to the customer directly. Second one is your FBA model, where there's a certain PO that you get, you deliver it to the respective FC. So with .com, one thing that's going to be easy for you is, once we create our shipment, it goes to the Amazon.com warehouse in US. There is something called as Central, West and East. So that gets automatically selected in the portal. It goes to the .com place. There the replication as per the node will be done by Amazon and the fees will be borne by Amazon completely. So there would be say about 200 to 250 FCs, fulfillment centers. So as per the node, suppose could be some part of America has more number of home and apparel buyers. So the node as per the demand, it would get replicated only on those locations. So that's something that neither me or you have to worry about. So that is something that will be taken care by the Amazon warehouse. So that's the entire shipping part of it. And then next, the payments part. So it would take roughly about say 15 to 18 days or say 7 to 15 days once the product has been sold there, once we make the product live. We would have activated your particular credit card here. So and the bank account number that you have chosen, that you have given there. So the payments will be made again in dollars to your particular account. So one is your debit, one would be your credit. So debit would be, suppose say you're running ads, suppose the $40 that I mentioned, all those things will be debited, and the sale that is important, that will be credited. And when we talk about returns, suppose in India, say we've got a return rate of say 10 to 12% overall for all the categories. In US, it's around 2 to 3 years. Again, there will be certain category where the percentage will go slightly higher, but the return rates there are slightly lesser compared to Indian marketplace. So that's how it works. This is the
credit card should be in the name of the organization.
Works. It can be a personal credit card, it can be your organization credit card as well. It's just the Amazon would need a particular credit card, an active credit card, either a Visa or a MasterCard, so that they could charge you for, suppose say you are taking ads or you are taking other services from Amazon. So there has to be a way for Amazon to charge you. That's when the credit card comes into the picture. That's about it. Guys, have any doubts?
No, perfect, sir. It's going in a very structured way.
No, I didn't want to take you through PPT because the बाकी का जो categories है ना, it does not make sense to you guys. So I've understood this handicraft and handloom. So इसमें I want you guys to ask more say any specific questions that I wish to tackle, or probably I can tell you in a certain structured way so that it becomes easier. Because this category में there is not much of gating, so there are not a lot of compliances. Suppose say if you had an electronic toy, suppose say a gun or something, so you will have to give it to a certain regulatory to get end-to-end check that. Whereas this is not a harmful toy. It's completely handmade product. So we would just need a labeling review that needs to be done. Again, the SPN partner would take care of it. I think for all these certifications, they would charge somewhere around 10 to 15,000 or 18,000, including GST. That's how it would work. If it would have been like say fully functioning toys, that would cost you somewhere around 40-45,000 per product. And this is something again it's completely non-negotiable as well. So for each category, again for grocery, if you have to sell tea, so then you'll have to take a certification from tea and coffee board. If it's spices, you'll have to take a certification from the board. Whereas for this particular category, all we have to do is we'll have to just give a labeling review. Again, that SPN partner would exactly tell you, because usme you just have to provide what kind of chemical that you've used for the first time for the handloom that you have sort of made. So what percentage was it used? For the labeling review, that part would be required so that you won't have any issues in custom clearance. That's about it. That's how typically this category operates.
Hi. I want to ask you, FIEO Super Services, do you also let us access the data that you have for market research? Let's say we want to understand the market in other countries, right, for a particular product. So can we expect you to share data that you have on Amazon? Let's say data that's aggregated in terms of geography or other demographic characteristics or consumer behavior in other countries, other places. Is it possible?
So I handle the US marketplace, right? So my colleagues who are present in say different marketplaces. So till last year we had Australia. Australia is currently shut. That we took a conscious call stating, the number of business that we were trying to clock, the rapidity that was in .com and Dubai marketplace. There was not the same figure in Australia marketplace. So though the compliances were less, it was still quite a challenge for us. So last year we closed Australian marketplace. Apart from that, we've got say US, Canada, Mexico, and then we've got UK, and then we've got Europe. So we've got Spain, Italy, we've got multiple countries there. So for each country or a place, we've got different BDs, business development managers. So based on the marketplace that you would be interested in, based on what your account, like what category that you are trying to sort of enter into, we will collect all your details. That respective individual will contact you and give you the guide. Since we cannot share it over say we will be able to tell you all the details that you require over a call. Since it cannot be an electronic thing that we can't send it over say WhatsApp or other places, we'll be able to give you a gist. So that's why instead of taking you to the entire PPT, what I did was I just took the two notes of say crafts as well as the handloom part, the apparel part. So 10%. So that is just 20% of 600 billion. Now in that 10% of each. So it again comes down to us like say 6 billion, 10 billion. Now again in that, for per seller if you have to see, I think the potential that I am seeing is, realistically if we see say in crafts, I think the first year we can clock close to $2 lakh to $3 lakh if we get all the metrics right. So which again close to comes around 1.5 CR or say 2 CR. Whereas in the handloom part, we would be able to clock around say 100 to 150K dollars. Again, we've got all our selection. So this is a generic based on the template that we've made. Suppose say we've got 75 products or 100 products, and given the first shipment that you are going to send, it's not going to be random stating कि हाँ आपके पास 200 products है, हम 100 भेज देंगे. That's not how it works. So we've got a tool built internally. Since you were asking for that, for each particular node, we take that particular node, we just ingest it in our system. We just check कि अगर men's jacket है. Men's jacket में again we've got multiple variants. So in that, suppose a suede men's jacket, brown color. So if we put that exact code, we'll get to know historically from last 4 to 5 years, what is it that it's been sold in the first shipment, what was the run rate. So the system would throw in a number stating, you will have to send 85 units and you will have to send 14 SKUs in total. That's how the combination X and Y factor combination works. That's worked successfully close to say again 80 to 85%, not 100% accurate because it's a human made thing. So that's how closely we can come to accuracy on the SLP guidelines, which is selection launch plan. That's how we go about when we have to launch any particular product in a different market.
Thanks.
Is that you can give us some idea what are the best sellers in the US market or Australian market Handloom and Handicraft or a byproduct of Handloom and Handicraft? I believe you will be comfortable enough to share those results.
Yeah, so that we will be able to give you the insights one-on-one. So so far what we've done from say .com, this particular segment is not right now it's been that big for us. What has been big for us is the traditional toys like say I'm not sure if you guys have heard something called as Wonder Buddy. So it's basically a speaker toy. You will have around 500 to 700 stories. You press the button, so it would tell you a story for a kid. So that is very demanding in .com. So there are multiple players who are doing it really well. So that is something that Indian sellers have replicated there, and now we are shipping those products there. So close to say 100 rupees that we do, about 40 to 45 rupees is something that is done from toys alone in global market. Now the rest of the segment is bifurcated into say home, apparel, fashion, electronics, and a small chunk is from the grocery part. So this year onwards we are focusing on say grocery, consumable products, and we are focusing on the category that we are dealing with right now. So we would want to go rigorous on this as well, help maximum number of sellers to scale their business there in this particular segment. So the products that you mentioned, sir, suppose say for example you've got say 20 to 30 products. First what I would do is I would take your business volume, what you've done say in various e-commerce platforms. Then I would look at what is your bestseller in Indian marketplace. Close to that, I would go to .com and check what my bestseller is there. For that particular node, we'll be providing you a selling price. Say, like for last 6 months, it was sold at say $18, $17. So based on that, we will do our calculation stating, suppose barring all your charges, what is it that you'll have to price at. So for first 3 months, what is it that number that you are able to clock, post which do we have to increase, decrease, or we will have to go with the sale metric or a volumetric business. That is something that we will strategically plan.
So what happens is that when it comes to specifically noticed and especially related to any industry we are or where we are members. So what happens is that most of us, our products or our items that we are basically handloom or handicraft or any byproduct. So for example, in my case, we are trying to make ladies bags also using this handloom. So that is a byproduct of handloom and handicraft. Or maybe some home furnishing items, say like cushion covers, or yoga mat. So we would like to understand how Amazon global can help us in that journey. And also that is one thing. So let me put my questions very straight. Secondly, in terms of Amazon.in or Amazon.in, so we have been trying Amazon.in with the help of agency for the past 6 months. So unfortunately, the bigger truth is that the Amazon.in market is very price conscious and so there is a price. So my agency is based out in Delhi, and so what he asked for is that आप सस्ता चीजें. So whereas in Handloom and Handicraft we cannot make system, and unfortunately we cannot compete in the Delhi market. So I have a sling bag which comes to around 1500, but we have similar sling bag, a printed sling bag which a mobile manufacturer can make in 200 or 300 rupees, right? So and also the market is crowded with China.
Correct. Yeah.
So, but the good part about Amazon.in is that at least at this point of time, you don't charge for the product.
Yeah.
Right? So my first question in Amazon.in is that I want to understand, I don't know about others, but I want to understand in terms of internet, a few examples, how the Amazon fees and everything are calculated. So because I'm a manufacturer, but I don't understand the Amazon calculation. So first thing is that this Amazon, we want to understand this Amazon calculation because that will help us to price our product in such a way so that at the end of the day we can run a profitable. In terms and also, there are many RTOs also. So considering all these aspects, how we can make our pricing in Amazon.in. So since you are directly from the organization, so I believe if you give some insights on that, so that will be very beneficial for us. Right? Second, that is first regarding Amazon.in. So and we have been getting this from being an existing seller there. So we have been getting this inquiry that we want to go for Amazon, right? So we have tried once. This is my personal experience. So we had tried once to send around 200 bags to US through an organization called Dutta. So they are basically they are Bangalore-based startup, and they had committed us some certificate prices. So, but when our products were ready, and when we got the final calculations, is that at the end of the day, the manufacturers' prices gets very bad. The FIEO charges, the commission charges, right? And that is the harsh reality. Everybody is here for business. Amazon having its huge platform, they have their own cost. We cannot debate on that. But considering that fact, and also giving a $40 platform charges every month, $40 is roughly 4,000 rupees.
Correct.
I don't know whether GST will be included there or not, but anyway, this roughly comes to around 4,000 rupees per month. So 4,000 rupees per month for a small startup like us. Unless we don't know what will be the ROI and how the prices will be has to be this. So I'm telling everything from my experience. So we would like to understand that provided we have a great platform because like Amazon Global. So how we can what is called how we can price our products there. Right? Everybody here are interested to go global, but again that global we have to understand things so that in the long run we know our ROI and we are profitable. Right? And anyway we have to take a hit for at least 6 months or 1 year to make our products visible, right? And also to have to get a what is called I would say that to get a visibility on Amazon problems, right? But we have done our own small research and we have found that Handloom and Handicraft are in very good demand in at least .com. So our bags comes under Boho bags, or even we have seen the bags from Handloom and bags from Pakistan. So those are sold at around $40 to $50 prices. It is found in 400, 500 rupees here in Pakistan. So based on that, so what we would request sir is that, or I would request here is that sir, if you can give few references and you can help us with these calculations, how we can pitch our product in Amazon or in Amazon global, right? That would be a great reference.
Sure. See, again, I am just showing you the referral fee that is present here. So this would, I think most of the categories, so your category would fall somewhere between 15 to 17%. This would be a referral fee. So while we are on the verge of onboarding a particular brand or a seller, again it would be a very case-to-case basis. So if I'm talking to you personally, like you've gone ahead with the registration process. So before we create the listing, that's when each respective BD would get in touch with you, the person who's sort of onboarding you. We will take you through a calculation again, based on, again as I told, the number of SKUs that you have. Suppose the best seller that you've sold in a particular marketplace, or say even Indian marketplace, what is the price that you've placed? Based on that, we take our referral fees of say 15 to 7%. Then we'll have to run ads minimum of 30%. Starting, there would be certain categories. Suppose if you're trying to compete with electronics, it would even go up to 50-52%. That is a initial burn that would be. So this is
So
the case.
In case of Amazon global, is it Amazon runs that on behalf of us, or we have to hire even some SPM or some agency?
Agencies can work, and also we've got our in-house ad team as well. So based on how you're scaling up your business, certain POCs will get in touch with you and they'll help you out completely. So
that will again be on the previous.
Yeah, for with ad agencies there would be charges definitely. Again, we would recommend you. So see, for any product, right, in terms of pricing, what we will just give you guidance as you were asking, that if a particular vessel is say priced at $20, we cannot take the product and price it at $50. So that's when we'll get into the picture. We'll tell you that this is what the node is, this is what it is performing, bestseller ka itna hai, but based on our calculation we can slightly go higher on it, price it, because it has to be profitable in there. Even if it's loss starting May, you can bear bare minimum loss, but you cannot send your shipment with a huge loss. It does not make sense at all. It is not feasible. So based on all this, we get to do a calculation, including the say of our referral fees. Then we would have a storage fee that would come roughly about say close to $0.5. Then we've got our ads, which is again 30% of it. And then we've got say coupons or buy more save more concept. Again you can clock that somewhere around 2 to 3% of it overall, or you can clock 5%. So yes, on a platform, be it in .in or .com, you would be roughly spending about 55 to 60% of it. That's the case. Like I wouldn't want to paint a rosy picture stating .com may come. Agar after you sending shipments, if you don't spend, in fact it is a loss for both of us, because the general key thumb rule for Amazon .in .com, wherever it is, your products, be it in search or be it in display, it should be visible in first 3 to 4 pages. Or even in search, when you're spending on ads, product visibility is the first important thing. Then comes the pricing factor. Suppose in India you've got a good rating. So once we create the listing, once we clone all the listing, 80 to 85% of your rating review gets transferred automatically. There again, to gain organic reviews, there is something called as Wine program, which is an influencer program. Like 2 to 3 reviews are recommended for that as well. Because like how it goes viral in Instagram here, similarly there, if certain people are endorsing, again it's all organically because Amazon get into it directly. If it's like organic, if they're promoting that particular product into TikTok, then obviously our e-cost and everything reduces and we'll start seeing more number of sales. So all these are tricks or hacks that we will have to sort of follow for us to sort of push the product towards the end customer. So it would have, say, 30% of your ad spends, 15 to 17% of your referral fee, then storage fees around 0 to 0.5%, then including your coupons of 5%. Then during events, say around, you could give a discount of 10 to 15% or say 10% to, to be eligible in deals. So as I told, this .com market is not a very bullish market in terms of price competitiveness. It's all about, having that quality and being discoverable. That's about it. Because there's one of the recent success stories from our .com is there's this brand called Wonder Buddy that I was mentioning that I'm handling it personally. There is a big brand called Yotoplay and Tony's in US marketplace where you place say a superhero character in a speaker, it would start telling you stories. So the similar concept the Indian seller found that here, he's found that niche. Again, he's procuring the products from China. He sends it from China directly. It's an Indian entity. That's how they've enrolled with Global. Today, he's in a very comfortable position. Like, of course, they did put in all their efforts and energy for first 9 to 10 months. But there are success stories. Like, all the metrics has to be done right. And having that connect with your BDs on a regular basis is also very equally important. To know, as you mentioned, the Bangalore agency is 200 products. So since he had asked, our first suggestion would be we'll go as per the guidelines. We'll go as per what the loan is. If we try to do anything generic, right, nobody can claim ownership to it, end to it. So if the node is giving me a demand of say only 43 bags, I would recommend it to set somewhere between 40 to 45 bags. That's about it. Our first 2 shipments should be through air. Again, through air shipment, you will not be going to make any money out of it. So once your products are lying there, based on the run rate that we calculate, the 3rd shipment onwards, you can definitely go with sea. So that one side you are not out of stock, the second side your costing drastically reduces. That's how all the brands are playing in, all the exporters are playing in for .in sellers who are planning to do it in .com. So first 2 to 3 shipments, they're all going to prefer air and then sea. Of course, because the prices are drastically reduced. The lead time would be higher, like 2 to 3x more, but ultimately the pricing reduces. So when you sit and calculate in your final revenue calculator, you will end up making more money than the usual. That's how it could go for a long-term perspective. Yeah. Any other doubts? This one, the calculation part that you had a doubt about, we can connect over a phone call. I can take you through how it works. So you'll have to give one reference point of a particular product. Then based on that we go on a revenue calculator. We just place that, we just see what is the profit that you're going to make. And then on top of that, we are going to plan all the deductions like say marketing, ads and all those things. Finally net to net, what is it that you're going to make? That's what it would be. I mean including returns as well. So we take all that into consideration, or basically even in .in, if you have a revenue calculator for .in, you can calculate all those things. The tool is available at your disposal itself. You get to calculate everything. You show that to us. We collaborate with you. We look at that calculation. Only based on that we will work with our segment. Without that the planning would completely falter. And then for the sake of it, you will send first shipment, then you will have a bad experience, we'll have a bad experience. That's not how it should be. It should be long term. So yeah, so we will help you with that end-to-end planning, where the requirement is say just 30 units or 40 units. So as I mentioned, we'll go more on the selection, less on units. 8 back instead of sending 200 units, we will send 50-60 selection, 3 units of each. So that once a stock out has been on few products, like we would pull out that report and we will see what is the run rate. अच्छा इस टाइम पे ब्लू कलर पैक पे इतना डिमांड हुआ था, that's why it's being sold. We get to calculate the run rate based on that. And nobody can give you that accurate number because we might not know what works here, works there, or vice versa. That's how it goes. We all go by the data part of it and then we help you out.
Yeah, that is where we got it positioned. Because anything that we have reputation within.
Correct. So that particular what product that you are looking at, what SKU you are looking at, or even say variations part of it, those insights will be given to you by a business development manager. That while you are on the onboarding process, we will give you stating, these are the number of products that you are supposed to, ship. This would be the quantity, and this is the SKU. This is what it is priced at. We would take a couple of bestsellers, and then we will give you this is what it has been priced historically for a year. So you run this, or probably run coupon at so and so time. Even once your products are live, once we've done all these things, then we'll have something. We'll have a complete experimentation. We would ask you to run coupons for 10 days. Then we'll ask you to stop coupons, run ad for next 15 days, stop that. Then have an organic sales for 7 days. We'll have that statistical dashboard there. Then we'll see that out of these 3 things, what worked best for us at what duration. So only with that for you, we'll be able to give you a more realistic aspect of what you are looking forward to. Because for few brands, where we've told you'll have to spend minimum of say 30%, they've ended up spending 55% also. There are few brands where we've said 50%, finally they've just spent 18-20% of the money in ads and they're seeing great returns. That is something that even we do not sort of expect it to happen. But sometimes you might not know how exactly the customer behavior also works. Like we might take all the data points and everything, but until and unless we get to see the actual content of a product, we won't be able to give you the exact gist of how it actually works. So that's about it.
So what we understand from your this is that I think in platforms like Amazon or Flipkart, we will be profitable only as and when we have bulk orders, order season, right?
No, see,
I believe this is probably an investment, 6 to 8 months, or at least for a year. Because consider the type of cost that we get. This cost implication is there in Flipkart also, in Mehra also, in Amazon probably it will be more in terms of products. At the end of the day, this basically is a number we are looking for.
no, so it's not, again, as I mentioned,
And it is not for small players.
no, that notion is not absolutely right. As I mentioned, the first 1 or 2 shipments that we are going to go with will always be very conservative in how we are going to plan. One of the main reason is in the start, for that excitement, or see, while helping you create your registration or your shipment, there is nothing that we are going to gain. Where even our metrics would sort of fall is growing your account. So the graph has to be linearly up. I've got your registration, I've got your listings, I've got your shipment created, I've got you from say 0 GMS to a certain number of GMS in a time frame. That's how it would be a successful win even for us. नहीं तो आपको सिर्फ registration करके and then it should not be the case कि you do this, you do that. It should be a mutual thing where you also show interest to do a certain things in a certain way, and that's when everything comes into the picture. So again, we would never, for some sellers, like say if they're not at all present in e-commerce, we would look into their aspiration. Okay, like these are the charges that would be there. Are you sort of ready to experiment? मान लो your first shipment, including all the charges, it would be around say 2.5 to 3 lakh. Like are you okay to sort of take this hit? This is what it would take. Just for the sake of launching, we would not want to give a rosy picture stating, हाँ सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा सर, आप कर दो. No, definitely not. We are very transparent कि this is what it would take. Exactly. So this is what it would take. Including all the charges, and has a process. That's why I give you a complete bifurcation, start to the end, what would be the charges, in between, what would be the charges. ये सब तो it would get add on, and when you calculate it as a founder or as a brand owner, this would be your first cost. So if you're present in say other channels already in say e-commerce in India, you would have a fair understanding of how it would work. Everyone here, or it's all about that finally that perception game that you're present, you're doing your ads. Once you start clocking in sales, you're okay to sort of take that hit, and then sooner or eventually you will turn into the profitability aspect of it. Even in the Indian marketplace, there are a lot of big players who are still yet to clock profit. So it's very subjective, if I have to say.
No, and at the same time, we have many brands who are basically their visibility just because of Amazon.
So again, as I told you, all our metrics should be right. So you've spent crazy money on shipment, you've spent money on A+ content, on your display product, you've spent all of it. Some sellers exactly वो पूरा कर देंगे. Then when we ask them to run on ads, it's like महंगे. Sir, what was the point? पूरा आप मतलब showroom में सारा सजा कर, if you're not allowing the customers to see, how will your product sell? So we always have to work backwards toward it. What matters the most to us? So is the ads part. Then comes our pricing factor. Like again, as I told in India, the pricing is very rigorous. There you come closer to what the bestsellers are being sold, That's about it. You might be $5, $10, $8 more expensive than that, does not matter. Convenience sake, because again, we are choosing the FBA model here. Your products are being picked here, it is being sold there. So the replication part is something that's taken care by Amazon there completely. You don't have to worry. So the customer, if they are placing the order, they look more on the convenience aspect of it. Because if I have to just give you an example of Bose earphones in .com, throughout the year, if the pricing is at 26,000, it would almost remain the same. Only during the prime time, from 26,000 directly it would come to 16, 17,000. And it is planned in such a way, the new product would have been launched. So the customer has that clear decision-making thing. Okay, now this is an old product, it's been sold at a certain thing, I'm going to pick this. Whereas in our Indian market, that's not the thing, because we've got multiple events and everything is being classed in between. Hence, there's a lot of haphazards that is being taken place in between Indian marketplace. There the events are less, so that you can just focus on your storefront, focus on your entire year, and how do you want to scale. Again, Q4 is the maximum for us. Suppose in 100 rupees of business that you do, almost for all the categories, 35 to 40% of the business comes from just from Q4, October, November and December. Yes.
Now, sir, for example, sir, considering so if I have a product, say 100 rupees product, from there, between 15 to 18% will be the referral fee. And the next that will come is basically working. This is basically the FBA charges.
Correct.
FBA charges is not included in this.
Yeah, FBA charges would be around say $3 to $4.
If it is 100 rupees, so I would say 4%.
Yeah, 3%. And you can even take storage fees, which is around 0.5%. It gets calculated on cubic feet, but it's a very small number. You can clock in at 0.5%.
Another 6% will be my per product. 6 to 8% will be my shipment to your APL. I'm just calculating.
No, shipment that is on per kg. That so we will have to calculate. Correct. Yeah, per kg.
Per kg will be 6 to 8%.
It's around 650 rupees per kg is what they will charge through air shipment. And through sea it is around say roughly about 200 to 250.
I'm just trying to calculate the cost. If suppose my product is 150, and what will be the end budget roughly per month for a single product or for a single SKU?
I didn't hear you.
The ad will be asked. Then we will be asked to run for
Ad would be say around 30% minimum.
30%.
Yeah, you can take 30%.
30%. Okay, so 100. Is there any other?
Sure. Let me just.
So what we'll do is we'll display a cost tabulation matrix. So
Exactly.
you can just do it in the Excel post the session.
Yeah,
so that
I'll just show
it's
it.
clear for
Yes.
everybody. Yeah.
But yeah, again, as I told, it will come out some roughly about you would so including ads, including FBA fees and all those things, it would be close to around 55 to 60% of it. Overall spend would typically come and fall under that same bucket. What you would be spending for even Indian marketplace, it would be around 55 to 60%.
So at the end of the session.
Sure. That's very subjective, but I can show you. I can take it. Yeah. This is what it is. The numbers are not projected here, but more or less what I told you was we've got referral fees, we've got shipping costs, subscription fees and other costs. Mainly. If you guys have any more specific questions or doubts.
So maybe if we can open the Excel sheet, let's take the product, let's price it at $100 and show them the calculation method. That works fine for everyone.
Yeah. We are just trying to ascertain how we can prove profitability to us.
No, you have to ask us. That's the main thing.
That's why we are here.
Because we see here 50 or 60% of the cost has to be in that scenario, how we can still making those payments, how we can grow what we understand from here is that if we take at least, it's not at everything, at least the product can get sales. So it takes at least six months to at least get a movement.
Sure.
And also the within Amazon, the market is very relevant.
We'll just take that. So we've parked your questions. We'll make a calculation fee. Is there any other questions that the participants wish to ask? Any clarity that you require?
I'm sorry, I really forgot asking questions.
No, that's okay. That's what we are here for.
I'm just wondering if the simplified checklist would be nice. Like, these are the things that one needs to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is the go-to place. Like these ones, this is Amazon, this is this. I don't know, something like that. Not now, but I'm just saying.
I'll forward you. So we'll be
something-
sending you a PPT of the
something
entire
not
journey.
very elaborate and very something simple to understand and follow. And these are the things that one needs to do to get to point A to B, and in terms of experts and steps, and what I mean, right? Something very simple but most essential, and these are the specific institutions.
Like this is the product, this is how we are going to go ahead about it, and this is how it would be, executed stepwise. That's
Just in terms of e-commerce.
yes.
Yes.
You are looking for specific of the Amazon deck, like how would you want to take through the process of, say, registration, listing, and all those things?
I think that would also be essential, right? Because
So again, right, what we do is after the session, the numbers that we are going to note down. So each particular person, so to their email ID, we'll be sending a pitch deck to that particular email ID, where you have all the steps that you requested. And the person that you are going to sort of coordinate with, it could be me or it could be a colleague of mine who are planning to onboard you. We'll take you through the steps on each step. So once you complete your registration, the listing part, we'll connect. So we'll be in touch with you on a regular basis till your journey completes for the shipment, and then we will talk about the sales aspect. So we will get, like if I just take you through the entire thing, it might be slightly overwhelming. So that's why I've just simplified everything, put it in a nutshell, and then based on the steps, we can go from there.
thank you.
Any other queries or requirements? Anything?
So one more query here is that I'm listed in another website.
Dotting.
Now to be a seller in Amazon Global. So is there any other documentation that will be required apart from IC?
No. So as I told, one is your importer-exporter code and your AD code. That is general for everyone. Now the category that we are dealing with here is there are no compliances that is required as
So what
such.
is this AD?
I'm just Correct. It will be given by the bank to them, and then you'll have to. So again, the SPN partner would connect with you. So there is something called as IceGate portal, which is a government portal. Only those SPN partners would know how to do the entire end-to-end process of it. They do the linking for you and help you out.
So AD code is generated by the banks for the exporters, and like it's specially used when your export realization payments have to come in your bank account.
Let me just show you.
Then once you're done, I also have one more query.
Yeah, sure. was again considering all your aspects of, so if you choose your say fulfillment, where every time you get an order you will have to ship it to .com, the process is too lengthy. Again, it would be much costlier affair for you compared to the FBA part. FBA part, that again, that's why we plan our whole shipment. We put it in such a way where it is already present in .com and the replication is taken care by Amazon completely. That's why there is storage fees and other fees that they are anyways taking. So it will be taken care by Amazon Internet directly. That's it. For your replication and other things, it becomes easier. And so how will you know? Suppose you are getting an order. Here, though, you've got replication. Amazon knows where the demand is coming from, and the products would be kept there. And again, the delivery faster rate is very important in .com compared to India. The speed there matters much more. So that's the primary aspect. Yeah, this is the slide that you were asking for. So the documentations are just these. So importer exporter code is must. Then ED code again you will be getting it from the bank. You will connect with one of the SBI partners just to link it and make it live in the Amazon.
You'll be sharing this PPT on group.
Yeah. So I'll be coordinating with her. We'll be taking the email IDs and then in accordance to that PPT will be shared.
Actually, not in the group like how normally we do. We normally whatever training that happen that is shared in the group.
Which group are you talking about now?
Entrepreneur group
Okay.
from NEHHDC.
So we'll share the PPT with Pooja.
Yes,
And maybe
she
can
will.
put it on the
She will.
And again, the simple steps that you asked for, which I already explained, so it typically talks about the same.
This registration is to be done with whom?
So, you will be providing your company name and email ID with one of the business development managers. We'll be providing a link over email. So, we will ingest all the details in our portal. We'll be providing you a link. So, once the registration is done, that account would fall under a particular person. So, there has to be one person who has to be
But
accountable.
it has to be through you.
Yeah, it has to be through us. Through me or to my team
Or
members.
anybody.
Any person,
Yeah.
like suppose for US there are certain people and for UK there are certain people.
You
Through
are
them-
from your company is this one FIEO.
No, I'm from
We
Amazon.
are from FIEO.
Okay.
He's from Amazon.
Okay. No, because I missed the introduction part.
No issue. So it will be directly from one of the employees. You will get the registration.
Okay, you are directly from Amazon.
Yes, yes, I'm an Amazon.
Okay.
So these are the steps. Once you complete the registration, then you go ahead with listing, logistics, payments. That's it.
And how much approximately is the registration fee?
No, there is no charges for registration fee. Only for the seller centric account. So the first time you get your registration done, your account gets opened. $40 would get deducted from your account directly. That's about it. Next, it might take say 1 to 2 months or 2.5 months to focus on all the listings, get all the clerical work done. There would be no charges right upon at that time. Your products have touched .com, placed there already. It's already present there. The customer has placed an order. you've got a sale. From then onwards, $40 will be charged on monthly basis.
Okay.
This is for all sellers.
And do we have to give any commission for the sales? I mean, on the product sales also. Like suppose one product is sold, and out of that a certain share goes to Amazon again.
Yeah, so there is referral fees. We've got our FIEO fees. That's what he was referring to. I'll just be showing you a calculator of it. Of
So
how it
there
will
are
work for
two
all.
charges. That is, one is registration and one is the on product sales. A certain
Correct,
amount on
yes.
product sales. So two fees,
Correct.
two expenses.
So there are multiple expenses that we will take you through.
Oh, okay.
It shouldn't just be overwhelming, but on each aspect of it, we will tell why the charges, why it is being made. So in Indian marketplace, right? So even for account management, there are charges.
Let's take the
Depending on-
simplest example. Say this costs about 100 rupees. Out of this, whatever a certain will be our profit, that will be our share, and rest will be all the expenses. That is like for logistics, for listing, for registration, for
Correct. We would tell you the entire part where it would cost you a certain thing, all the calculation we see. And then you can plan accordingly. Suppose say for $20 or $25, we take you through the calculator. This is what you will get it finally. So you will slightly increase the say sell price so that you will be able to clock more money. And then we'll be able to check the run rate how it is performing.
But as per the situation scenario today, the number of platforms are so many and the rates are so competitive, and then will we be able to meet those, compete those
It completely depends on case-to-case basis. Again, if I tell yes, it would sound rosy. If I tell no, then it would not be optimistic. Here the point is, we will guide you to till the end of, like say we would target this is the particular blouse mode. Suppose you got say so and so products. This is what the demand is. This is where you have to touch. This is what you need.
You'll be guiding that.
We'll be guiding you that.
This is the best you should do.
Exactly. This is the
For
best.
the best
you should do as per,
results.
exactly. As per all the compliances, they will take you through everything so that you know nowhere there should be any blockers. Finally, it has to hit the stock there. Finally, customers needs to make a choice towards it. So for that, all the steps that we need to follow, we'll guide you. So there have been sellers where everything was good for first 15, 17 days, they have not dropped any business. Later, they've tweaked some changes in their ads, they've started seeing numbers. So it's a very lengthy thing, it would take time, but the thing is, we are there to guide you from end to end, how it works.
So at least one thing is clear, that you are directly from Amazon.
Yes.
So that's like, okay, like.
So you will have a person to catch hold of, like again for more. So this session is more or less on a generic
Is your
aspect.
office located here also
No,
somewhere?
it's in Bangalore. And we've got office in Mumbai, Delhi as well.
You've flown today from Bangalore?
Yes.
Okay.
So we don't have a regional office here as such. The closest I think would be the Delhi region. Again, so based on the number of people that are interested in who want to sort of onboard, it gets divided internally, like who should target what based on the regionality of it. Then the account manager would either connect through phone, or they might fly in, or you will just find a place there. So those connects will happen. So once your registration is done, when you are planning to create your shipment, probably a respective BD would travel to your particular office, help you with certain things to proceed with shipment creation. But for us, the main goal is not just to get your account created or get the listing there. उससे हमको there is no use to us also. Like our metric is tagged based on the number of sellers, based on how many SKUs they have, based on what is their ad spends, based on what is it that they're clocking year on year का अगर growth है. So it's like I get a seller, the seller drops in immediately after a couple of months. That's a failure to our end as well, right? There has been some planning that's gone wrong. So ideally, any seller that we get in will have to focus on growing their business year on year. There has to be a JVP, not sitting in between. So it's like a blocker for both of us. So that's how it gets tabulated internally as well for us.
Thank you.
So again, yes, on all the documentation parts, we would be guiding you. So we'll help you connect with one of the SPN partners. So any documentations that are required that needs to be done for say particular category, that they will help you with it, and we'll be sharing the contact details. So they'll directly get in touch with charges. We cannot comment on the charges because it's a third party thing and we don't have a say. Like Amazon is like we don't take any money from it or something. It's just that we tell for this, reach out to so and so person, this would be the charges and this would be the timeline. Now there was a case where a seller who was onboarded, वो एक गवर्नमेंट पोर्टल होता है where you have to upload your AD code. So for that, SPN partner was charging somewhere around 4,500 or something. So it's like seller is like, can't I get an alternative? I don't want to spend this money. Then we clearly told, sir, please drop off. Now for that, I cannot just tell for the sake of registration or for the sake of making like I'll find you an alternative. Then it's a waste of time for both of us. His or her intent has to be very clear of what they're trying to do. Then these are the charges, you're in game for it, then we will help you to scale it completely. Certain things will definitely have no alternatives. If there's a certain thing, it
this
has
is
to
a
be
part
done.
of process, this is how it works.
Exactly. No, some
Like,
actually do
take
paint a
it or
rosy
leave it.
picture. Exactly. So we don't want to do that. We just want to be transparent of this is what it would take, and we will have to proceed in accordance.
Where do you have the say? What best can you give us? In terms of discounts or subsidies or waive off on some amount, or where exactly can you do that?
So there is no waive off. So even till last year, if you had registered in year 2024, right? Till 2024, the first 3 months you had like $1 subscription, post which $40 were being charged. Now the number of exporters that have been increased, so the global team of .com have sort of waived off that benefit from us right now. So any incentives that we get in future, obviously will be communicated. Now, based on this quarter, there are certain incentives that's being planned. Suppose you clock in a certain amount of sales in the first quarter, you will be getting say 0.5% or 1% reduction in commissions.
So you'll be transparent when these .com people, when they share some kind of incentive structure with you all will also share.
We'll have to communicate to you, right? Or if not, how would you know? So first thing is that as soon as you create a seller central account, more than me communicating it to you, like if you know how to sort of go through your seller central account, everything is transparent there.
Okay.
So you don't need a third party person to guide. But certain things like your product has some issue, you'll have to correct it. That's when the account manager would get into the picture. We will help you. Where you have to exactly cut a ticket, what is the step that you have to take to close it. That's when we get into the picture and help you out completely.
So here sir, the SPM has to be those who are recommended by Handloom.
You can take someone from your preference also, we have no say to it. Point is, the ones that we recommend, we'll have a hold to them, if not directly, indirectly. That's it. So even for the shipment part, right? Suppose today we've got something called as X shipment. One of the shipping partners, he's an ex-Amazonian who was in a senior position. He started his own company. So now any shipments that are being created through X shipment, we get those tracking ID. We send it to the team that he's handling in. We take the tracking ID. We just send it to them. We try to fast track it. Though it's not legally compliant, just to sort of help our sellers, we find another route or mode to sort of fast track this. Since we'll have slightly better hold, that's why we've given all this recommendation. If not, if you go everything as per the books, right, then as per the ETA, it might sort of prolong as well. Our point is, as soon as the seller is registered, within say 45 to 50 days, we should complete the end-to-end process and his product should hit the shelf there. Right? And this is the right time before March, April, so that June, July onwards, we got our Prime Day, we get to see the clocking in numbers. And even the BDs would have the ample amount of time to sort of guide you on end-to-end, keep all your metrics ready so that we can start reaping benefits in H2, which is July to December onwards, complete. Again, as I mentioned, these are like your listing basics and optimization. So all these things, while you are actually creating it, right, we'll be guiding you end-to-end of how it needs to be done. If you're already present in Indian marketplace, we'll just take those listings, we'll clone it to .com, or if you have to create listing from scratch, you'll have the guidance, what is the combination that you have to take, how you have to create. So for example, in UK marketplace, you can never sell organic products. There's a gating for the word organic as well. So you'll have to plan your description or whatsoever in accordance to that and create it. Again, that's very subjective on case-to-case basis, hence in the keeping time in mind, I've just not taken you through that entire rigorous process right now, but I've just given you a glimpse or gist of how the process would work.
Otherwise, the listing is similar to
.in, yeah. So if you already have a .in account, we'll just clone the listing. If not, we'll have to create the listing from scratch, and that's about it. And then if you have to do any parent-child variation creations, that is something that we'll help you out with. We'll just cut a ticket internally, and we'll get the listings made like that. And then post that, you as a seller or a brand owner, you will update your prices accordingly once the listings are created. So that anyways the person will guide you, whoever is handling you would guide you end to end of how it works. This is just a rough calculation that I am just showing it to you. This is the revenue calculator. So you've got your sale price, which is $35, and then you've got various fee here that are placed. We've just posted the margin and what would be our air and sea shipment costing. We've done our USD to INR conversion as well, which is close to $87.4 right now. So while we are discussing with you, we would just pick a particular SKU. We would see agar uska, if it is like say $28, as in when we make the changes here, we'll be able to get a complete rough figure of how it would work. So here we've just taken a standard of say 700 rupees per kg, and we've taken close to 200 rupees per kg, including all the tax and everything. Here again, as I mentioned, taken returns of say 2%, ads of 30%, and coupon of 5%. And per kg, I'm just keeping 2 products, assuming that we have 500 grams of product. Now it could be less or more. We're just averaging it out so that you get to see. So I think net margin would come close to somewhere around 300 rupees for air shipment, and sea shipment would be higher. Again, for us to exactly tackle, right, we'll have to go through your particular product of Indian product. We would have to calculate back end as a owner. You would tell what is the net margin that you are making, despite selling out everything in Indian market. Here, then we would find a particular niche of what is it that we have to place the price of this particular product in US, and then do our back end calculations.
What is the general ratio like company Amazon and us?
In the sense?
Like, say for example, I listed my products in your Amazon site. So out of that, like it is 50-50 or 40-60 or 30-70, what type, like roughly?
Here we've mentioned, right, so we've got Amazon fees, which is say 17% for your particular category, between 15 to 17%, and say around FBA cost would be roughly about 2 to 3% of it. Then we've got our storage fees, which is 0.5%. Again, importing cost would be 0.25%.
This is per unit or per kg?
Per unit, per unit. So we have just taken the sale price of a particular product, and then we have also considered the weight of the particular product. So overall, like per product, if you are placing it at say $28, you are going to be making these two here through sea shipment and through air shipment.
Here, one thing which get me confused is that you see here you have put a sale price of $28 and around $21 for entire Amazon ecosystem, right? Then post that how $7.39 becomes a margin because we have a conscious production for our products.
Correct. So that's what while we are collecting, we'll know what is it that you are.
So you are putting my cost of production and everything as a margin only. I need to understand the calculation.
No, that in the calculator that we provide, you will be able to check it from your end. So here, as you mentioned, we are just taking on the overall. The price that you are planning to sell is something that we will tabulate. So that pricing, if you have to price slightly higher or lesser, you will come back to us and tell, this is what the sweet spot that I am trying to do. Based on that, we've just made a rough calculation of how it would go.
Because here the cost of manufacturing is zero. In that case, I don't understand the logic of putting everything on this.
You would. So there is a particular, we won't have the access to it. So in the revenue calculator, when we send it to you, you get to see that entire revenue calculator there itself in dollars. Suppose you created your account. In Seller Center itself, you've got a calculator called, even in .in, there is something called as revenue calculator. Because it depends for each SKU, each node, it would be completely different. So you go to the Seller Center, you click on the revenue calculator, you get to see that completely there. And then the additional part of it which you don't get to see there is ads, coupons. That is something that I am giving you in percentage. This is what it would be like. So with that you can get to minus that and you will be able to see your final number.
And besides, I think this is just for like one single product.
Correct.
Whenever you will be sending to, like, as much as your quantities keep increasing, your cost or your expense keeps going down.
No, ma'am. The problem is that the cost of manufacturing is blank.
Cost of manufacturing, okay.
COGS.
That is, the cost is blank. That means my product cost is zero.
No, the product cost is accumulated in overall sale price. That's what, as you mentioned, we are accumulating the overall sale price. Since we don't know for each seller what would be the cost, we won't be able to account it here, right? We assume that the sale price is, say, $30. This is what you're planning to sell. You give me a particular price. In that, we'll show what our calculations are. And then minus all, this is what we would arrive at.
Your price has to be inclusive of your manufacturing cost.
Correct. So that you will come back and tell us, okay, this is what I'm planning to keep. The buffer that you told, barring all those things, is finally this is what you'll be left with, right?
It's not percentage, right? It's just the exact value. The fee that Amazon is charging for 6 months. That's the exact value, is not percentage. So don't you think it would have helped if it was percentage? Because I think that is the kind of doubt he has.
So here the percentage is mentioned on the right.
Okay.
Again, this.
Right.
Again, I'm
so based on the percentage, okay.
See, the calculation is already, it's a pre-made Excel thing just to make sellers understand of what it is. So it's made the prices, the overall value that you see will be higher, lower, completely. As you mentioned, for that we'll have to sit end to end to understand what would be your costs finally, plus all these things that so this is just a reference for you. We won't be able to arrive to the exact nitty-gritty of the number that you are going to clock because there would be certain charges here and there, minus, plus of certain things. So you will come back to us and tell, so we'll give you guidance that in this particular node, so-and-so seller is selling, suppose a Colgate toothpaste there, they're selling it at say some $8 or $12, but an Indian seller, if he sells it at the same price there, though if he wants to capture the market there, he'll be completely negative. He has to be placed somewhere between $18 to $20. Once, as she mentioned, once we go on a bulk basis, through sea shipment, the costing reduces there. That's when the seller will get ample opportunity to cut down the prices. In the initial days, We will have to tackle the pricing, but at the same time, we'll have to be vigilant that what we are trying to sell.
Just 0.6%. Shipment is just 0.6%.
No, here it is taken per kg. Correct. So the math that has been made here is accurate in terms of what is the costing, say for sea shipment and air shipment both. That once you create your account through revenue calculator, you will be able to see that. So in that you just have to add one more thing, which is your say ads and coupons. That is something that you don't get to see. So in revenue calculator, be it in any marketplace, right, they won't give you the entire complete revenue what you're going to make. You only get to see after all the FIEO fees, storage fees and everything, what is it that you make? That might look like a very good number. No, that's not the thing. In that, just remove your say ads percentage and coupons. For Indian marketplace, again you'll have to calculate discounting. Your discounting does not play a primary factor. What matters is your ads, whether you're running your ads or not, and additional coupons, are you passing it or not. More than coupons, it's mainly the ads, and you can calculate your returns. Both typically sit somewhere between 32 to 33%. Then you can do your math accordingly.
Are you trying to say that for ads and coupons, we don't have any control over how ads will be?
In the sense?
Like, that is something Amazon will do themselves, ads and coupons, and we just give them 30% for ads.
Yeah, ads is something, so through Seller Central, right, there is something called as campaign manager. So you get to enable what kind of ads that you have to run, what is the keyword that you want to bid, but again, most of them would not have a fair idea of what is it that they wish to bid.
Yeah.
That's when either my team members from ads team or we suggest you to go with the SPN partner who are like a proper agency who will help you for a certain fee. They'll help you on a day-to-day basis how the trend is working.
So it would be sort of co-leading, right?
Yeah, correct. So again, as I mentioned, 30% is like the bare minimum. It might go slightly up, it might even go down as well, based on the final returns that you are going to clock on the sales. That's about it. So this, when we are sending you a pitch deck mail to you, you will even have the revenue calculator there. Then you can finally put your particular product that you are seeing as a competition, then you get to see that. So since if you've got A.in access already, A.in say, you can just check that. You'll have a fair idea.
So I just have a question on behalf of the exporters. So like there are a few benefits that Indian exporters get from the government, like the drawback or the drawback. So when they are selling via Amazon, like the payment will come in the bank in that AD code, the BRC will be generated. But then how during selling the exporters can take benefit of those schemes? Is there any provision as to is there any check marks when they are selling on your platform to avail those benefits?
So as I mentioned, there was this one primary benefit that was there for like first 3 months. The $1 thing was there. Right now, after 2024 end, they've waived it off. So now we are yet to get the new set of benefits that there were. So the benefits aspect of it, right, you get to see in Seller Central. It is all there. Like suppose you clock in a certain. So for each category, the gating would be different. And suppose you've done a certain XYZ amount of dollars sale. For few sellers, we wouldn't even have the idea, but based on the load and everything, Amazon is giving them the fee waiver discount of say 1.5%. That is in their final bill. So then when they contact us, we get an idea, okay, on this particular category, that's when they're clocking it for that particular time. So in Q2.
Sorry, this you're talking about the benefit that Amazon is giving.
Correct, yes.
So my question is that there are certain benefits that the exporters get from the government.
Okay.
Right. So for example, like let's say if she's selling her bag. So if it's a leather bag, so let's say there's a 2% rebate on the duty.
Okay.
If she's selling a bag via your platform, where is the provision to avail that benefit? Is it there on the portal? Is it going to happen through banks?
As far as not through banks and not through portal also, as far as I know, there is no separate benefit that they get because since they're dealing through with Amazon directly. So any benefits that you're going to obtain is through Seller Central itself. If Amazon is giving a particular benefit through Seller Central, that based on the numbers that you're going to clock, you might get additional 1% fee waiver deduction. That's about it. But the point that you mentioned, it's not present. As far as I know, it's not there. But let me again just check. That's not there. Yeah.
Fine. So how will they get the EBRC in their name? So the AD code is open.
Correct.
The AD code gets linked to the Amazon account.
Correct.
And all the forex that's coming into there gets credited in the account.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So how is the EBRC generated?
So that will again be in Seller Center itself, one of the SPN partners that they have connected with. They'll exactly guide them within that. So in with US, right, after 6 months, you're not supposed to keep your money. There is that RBI regulatory aspect. So those guidance will be given by the SPN partner completely of how it needs to be done. So while you are getting your service available for the code part of it, so generally what happens is the launch part is done, the sale clocks in. During that time, the SPN partner that they have connected with, they'll exactly show them, where is it that they have to go and sort of, avail or click a particular option. So all those things, whatever they need to generate, it's present in Seller Center, but they'll help out the seller, each seller, like whoever is like tied up with them.
So one more question.
Yeah.
Like there are a few countries where an agreement has been signed between India that the trade happen in Indian rupee also.
Okay.
Instead of dollars.
Hmm.
So is there any provision on Amazon where it is being done? Or are we just restricting ourselves to dollar and the pound?
It's dollar. It's dollar. Yeah, correct. It's dollar. So that they get in the Seller Center itself, and then most of the sellers like who have that idea, they understand the dollar, the rupee, they convert it directly. But in sellercentral.com, you get to see everything in dollars.
In dollars.
So even the charges that's being made or whatsoever. So again, as I mentioned, there are those two lines, debit and credit. Whatever is being debited, so there is something called as notification preferences. They get to see all those things there. Suppose they need to update some tax information. As soon as they log into their Seller Central account, right corner pe whatever the notification preferences they get. Like how we get our notification. So every time they get a notification, they have to just work on in accordance to that, so that they get to solve all those things there.
So what I request you is you get back to us with this government benefit query.
Sure, yeah.
So it will be helpful for everybody.
Fair. As far as I know, there is no such thing as that. But let me just check and get that. Because for any seller that would get into Amazon platform, right, they all get clubbed into the same ecosystem. Till last year, we had that benefit of $1 for first 3 months. Right now, since we've clocked a certain volume, that again, the .com have sort of removed that mandate even for other exporters as well. So these benefits keep changing. So we are yet to get by March end, we will be getting new set of benefits, say for 2025. So if that comes in, existing sellers who have enrolled, even they'll reap the benefits in Seller Center itself. So it's all enabled in the portal. So mango, like you have registered right now, and a benefit comes in the month of April or April end. So it is shown in Seller Center. Okay, these are the new benefits that are being showcased for you in the year 2025. You get to avail of those things. Suppose you clock a certain volume, you will get an Amazon waiver, or in terms of storage, you might get some deductions. So all those things you get to see in Seller Center.
Do we have any more questions or queries, or do you need any more information from us?
No, this part is clear. So, $88 a seller gets same. The net margin will be around 2 to 3%.
Yeah.
Or 2 to 3, not percent, but 2 to 3 dollars.
So you will share the PPT with everyone.
Yeah,
I will
got
give
it.
you-
Sure. Yeah. Right.
Does the government have any? Was anyone else?
No, that's please
Does the
continue.
government have any quality assurance guidelines, for instance, to understand how a product will function, just to it would perform in the international market, or are there any guidelines available?
So, see, I'm not very sure about the e-commerce products, but usually in exports, whenever I am sending a product to, let's say, next country, so that buyer will give me guidelines. That, for example, if I want to sell this pen, so he will tell me that you need to make sure that you're using certain category of plastic in this, or you're using a certain brand of ink in this. So that will be given by the buyer. But there are some country-specific guidelines as to, like, let's say if I'm to export to EU, the European Union. So from now on, they will also see that in my manufacturing process, how much carbon is being emitted, and then they will accordingly put a guideline and a tax on me. So it all depends on buyer and the country's preference. There is no set guideline as such.
So for here to just add on to that, as I mentioned, when we connect with our SPN partner, right? So for a product, suppose in your manufacturing unit, you have to send it to .com. So they'll just exactly tell you for the product, there is something called as labeling guidelines. So they're going to tell you what has to be sort of printed as a label so that it is all clear in customs. So those guidelines you'll get. As I mentioned, say for handlooms, for other products, was there a chemical wash and what was it used in the first step? So all those things, it's very case to case basis that they're going to guide. You don't have to worry about that. So that's a later part that gets into the picture that will be taken care of.
And if there are any other queries later also, you can always get in touch with us and we can connect with them and get back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deepak. So I now request Mr. Kaushik to come over stage for the vote of thanks.
Very good afternoon to all of you. I'm sorry I'm late actually. I was taking advantage of some visiting and CM was visiting. I hope today's session has been an eye-opener for all of us in terms of e-commerce export. As Amazon is here, he has taken all the time and all the way from Bangalore. We'd like to thank you, Mr. Deepak, for coming down all the way. And we'd like to thank Northeastern Handloom and Handicraft Development Corporation for organizing this session. And we look forward to having much more sessions like this in the coming days. And hopefully, this is just the start that we are looking into expansion of our business of handloom and handicraft in the e-commerce sector as well, apart from the traditional way of exporting. I think it's got a lot of potential. Our products are good. Just we need to take the right way forward, right platform to use. And I think we'll definitely succeed in the coming years. I'd like to thank Ms. Neha, our Managing Committee member, FIEO, for taking her time out to have this session with us, and all the employees of Northeastern Handloom and Handicraft Development Corporation for organizing this session. Thank you so much.